Hey everybody, how's it going? I hope you're doing great. Hey guys, I want to throw a video on here. It's a common problem, something I discovered when I was changing my trunk, putting my donor trunk on my '04 GT. This is a common problem from the '94 to '04 in the trunk area as far as leaking water with the factory seam sealer. I've run into this before. Let me show you what I found on this car and what I decided to do to fix it. So guys, as I was saying, as I was putting my donor trunk on the '04 GT, we changed out this trunk that had a good bit of issues. A lot of mold, water, and everything, leaves build up in here. It sets, it molds, and it starts affecting the seam sealer, and maybe just the seam sealer over time starts, getting hard, cracking, peeling up. I found a couple of areas. I'll throw some pictures on here to show you what I found when I was cleaning up everything. And it's something I've dealt with before on this car. And let me show you what I did here. What we have here, and I'm going to show you what's going on. This car is starting to do it. You see that huge crack right there? The seam sealer is cracking and it's starting to roll up. When I first bought the car, this side didn't look bad at all, but this side was terrible. It was rolled up like paint that had been on a building for 100 years. Now, what you're looking at is an old repair. And as I said in the video earlier, see how this mold and stuff starts developing? It starts getting ugly and dingy. This car did set under a shelter, but the open elements was still able, the wind and rain and stuff was still able to blow dust, dirt, leaves in here. So I took the daunting task and I had to chisel this seam sealer out. This seam sealer, especially where this hinge, it's embedded. You can see it's embedded into the seam sealer. So the hinge is put in from the factory and they put in a self-leveling sealer and it just runs right out and drips off that edge. I'll show you in a minute. So I started the task of what to do. So I took a chisel and I just basically chiseled it out, got this thing free, and it was rusted under there. So I treated it. The water was dripping off of these bolts right here. That's one of the bolts that holds the trunk bracket down. It's embedded in that seam sealer. The water starts getting in and it starts getting in between down here and it starts rusting. Well, that's what was going on here. And man, I took and started trying to figure out what to do, thought it over. Uh, wasn't really watching YouTube back then, should have. So I dug this all out, cut it all out, chiseled it out, treated the metal. Thank goodness it wasn't bad. And I bought some seam sealer from an automobile paint store. And I put it in and I tried to level that out the best I could. It's not bad. The water will run off, but guys, I'm gonna tell you, this was a major pain. It really was. And now I don't know if it's because I didn't paint it, because I always wanted to come back and try to grind this maybe with a little grinder and just smooth it out. But now it's chalking up. Not sure if it's because I didn't paint it. This has been done a good bit of time ago. So now I'm going to have the task of just digging all this out again. And now this side, as you can tell, is doing it. So I'm going to have to dig all this out. Not looking forward to it. I know a little bit more about the situation now. But on this car, I'm going to show you what I found. And I'm going to show you what I did to fix it. This car wasn't near as bad as this car. This car, especially that side, it was actually rolling up the seam sealer. So let me show you what I found on this car. Let me show you what I did to fix it. And hopefully this might help you if you own a 94 to 2004 Mustang. So guys, one of the first things I'm going to do is I'm going to take my cutting knife here. And where this edge is kind of rolled up right here. I'm going to trim some of this away because it's rolling back, and kind of smooth it off. I may even take my little air die grinder and smooth it off a little bit. But I'm going to cut back a little bit of this lip that's trying to roll away, where I can get sealer back in between here, the bracket, metal trunk bracket, and the factory sealer. All right, guys. So we got it cleaned up, got it wiped down and everything. I filled up my holes. I went in and I cut and ground back where it was rolling up. So what I've done is I've took high temp Permatex, filled the gaps back up. The reason for the high temp Permatex is it has different properties than the black and the gray and the clear. From what I understand, the high temp as it dries, well, when they all dry, the black, the gray, and the white has tendency to draw in moisture where the high temp doesn't. And it gives you your best results for sticking and not rusting your metal. And from what the research I've seen, the others, they draw in moisture as they dry, and it can cause rust on your car because it starts like an acidic reaction. But they say the high temp don't. We'll see. So once this dries, I'm going to put another coat on here of something else, of some sealer, and then we're going to put a little paint over it. I think it'll look good. I realize the best repair would have been to dig all that out. I get it. I'm not disagreeing with anybody that says, hey, that's not the way to do it. I know, but this is the way I'm doing it. Because, brother, I'm going to tell you, I've got to go back and redo that car, and I dug that out, and I bought the seam sealer and everything. It's a job. This car wasn't that bad. So I'm going to fix these small areas with the Permatex, and then I'm going to go over it with a gel. You'll see what it is. And then once all that dries, I'll put a coat of paint over it, and it shouldn't look too bad. This is the way I've chose to fix this car. You choose to fix your car any way you want. Any of you that's ever dealt with this, you know what a job it is. So this is the way I'm choosing to fix mine. All right, guys, so we've waited a couple hours, and we've let this harden up. And the reason like I say, I went with the Permatex because I didn't know if another seam sealer would adhere to the old seam sealer. I even called the Eastwood company. They weren't sure either. But this Permatex, you know, it has a little flex to it. So the main reason, I just wanted to fill up the big cracks. And then I'm going to go over with, yes, Flex Seal. How about that? Good old Flex Seal. I was wanting a can of gray. All anybody has is the white and the black and the clear. I wanted gray, kind of a primer look, because I'm going to paint back over it. This Flex Seal, as seen on TV, I done a little research and come to find out it's not bad. I read reviews, watched people that done videos and come back a year later where they put it on their boats and stuff. So my thinking is I'm going to put a light coat over this old seam sealer. I've cleaned it. I've wiped it down with alcohol, sanded it, brushed it with a wire brush, the whole 9 yards, wiped it down with alcohol. I'm going to put a light coat of seam sealer to fill in small pores and cracks and pinholes and go over the Permatex. And you're supposed to be able to paint over this. I bought 2 small cans because my thinking was, these are only 2-ounce cans. My thinking was, if I had a real large can way back here, not being able to get it into the crack and into that narrow channel. So I bought 2 small cans, and my thinking for that was, you know, I could get really down in there with the small can. So we'll see how that works out. I bought 2 of them. I was a little shocked to find out that this Flex Seal turns out it's not bad. Plus, guys, it'll be under the trunk, out of the weather, and when the car is not in the shop, it's going to get caught in the rain when we go somewhere. But remember, guys, we're not building a show car. We're building a car to drive to shows. So any imperfections will be under the hood. Just be mine and y'all's secret. But we're going to see how well this works. Let's put a little thin coat of Flex Seal on here. It takes 24 hours for it to cure before you can paint it. So I'm going to put a little thin coat on. Make sure all the pores and everything and all these smaller cracks is sealed up. And hey guys, we'll do a 1 year review later and see how well this works. All right guys, let's see what we got here. All right guys, we'll let that set. And it's got to set for 24 hours. And it's supposed to be clear. Hopefully it'll clear up when it dries. But like I said, you're supposed to be able to paint over this. So, all right, I'll get to the other side and we'll see how well this is gonna work, guys. All right, guys, it's the next day. I kind of thought it said it's clear, has a white look to it, but I noticed where it's in thinner areas, it's clear. I guess maybe I put it on a little thick. Maybe that's why, but um, it feels good. It's smooth. It's good and hard. So I'm going to go ahead and throw a little paint on it. We'll wipe it off just a little bit here. And I'm going to throw a little paint on it and let's see what it looks like, guys. See if it looks presentable, halfway decent. But so far, I'm liking it. And we'll see. All right, guys. I had a little bit of paint left in the duplicate color. I sprayed just a little bit on it. I just wanted to see how it would react. So I throwed a little light coat on it. I don't really see a lot of fisheye and everything that wasn't already in it from when I sprayed. So far, so good. I just throwed a little light coat on it. It looks like it's adhesing. Like I said, the Flex Seal, you're supposed to be able to paint it. So I just throwed a little light coat, see how it will react, and see what it's going to look like. We'll let this dry for a few minutes. All right, guys. I put a couple coats on there. It's probably not going to have a real good shine. Maybe it won't turn white. It does have a dull gray look because I don't have the best weather. You can see it's trying to rain. This paint's probably soaking up moisture. Probably don't even need to be doing this today, but it's the only day that I have. So, but it doesn't have to be perfect. I just wanted to put a little gray over it, cover over the clear Flex Seal. It'll be underneath the trunk, but it looks like it's graying up on me, kind of getting whitish looking, and I'm sure it's because of this weather. But that's what it looks like so far, guys. All right, guys, got a couple coats paint on there. Wait a few minutes in between. As you can tell, I don't have the best weather for this. There's a lot of moisture in the air. If this wasn't something like this, I wouldn't even be painting it. If it wasn't, just in this trunk area, if it was something else, I wouldn't even be attempting to paint today. But I just wanted to get some paint over that Flex Seal while it was fresh. So my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, sometimes when you apply paint, different things. You only have so many hours before you have to start scuffing and everything. So we were within the allowed time. Like I said, weather's not ideal, but for what we're trying to accomplish here, uh, I think it'll be okay. So we're going to let this dry, guys. All right, guys, curiosity got the best of me. Right before I untaped the car, I looked in the cabinet and I had this clear coat left over from Touch Up Direct where I painted my wife's 2015 Toyota spoiler on the back. Guys, that's all it needed. That's all it needed. Look at that. Now we're matching perfectly. I didn't have a lot in the can. It was trying to kind of spit it out a little bit, but I got just enough, able to lean the can just enough in the right spots. And look at there. It just needed that little bit of clear coat on the top. So I went ahead and put it on there, liked the results, bolted the trunk on. Man, everything is matching nicely now. We've got the trunk painted underneath. And hopefully, guys, hopefully this repair will last. I just didn't feel like digging all that out. I wanted to try this to see. If it doesn't work, then I'm out of a little bit of time and I was going to have to dig all this out and scrape it out anyway. So if it doesn't work, then I'll know. But now the car will be staying in the shop and not in the weather. So I think that'll be another contributing factor. It won't be in the moisture all the time, allowing mold and stuff to grow. It'll be in the shop, other than the occasional rainstorm that it'll get caught in when we drive it. So, all right, guys, I don't know what you think about this, but I'm liking it so far. I think it looks good. I still think it has the factory look to it, and it looks presentable, and we're going to try it. We're going to see if the Permatex that I put in there has enough give, hopefully, and the Flex Seal on top. We'll see how well it works out. Like I said, if it doesn't work, then I was going to have to dig it out anyway. All right, guys. So I hope this video helps you guys that have a 94 to 04 Mustang that is facing something like this. And if your trunk only had the small cracks like mine, maybe this is a fix for you. But if it has a lot more, then you're probably going to be looking at the task of digging that out. All right, guys. I hope everybody's doing great. Hope everybody's doing fine. Thank you for the likes, the subscribes, and can't wait to see you in the next video. Thank you, guys.